Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? We're gonna figure out how to find a dead kingdom. So stay tuned. So if you're looking for a dead kingdom, alright, let it just be said, okay, that when it comes to finding a dead kingdom, the first thing you need to do is essentially you need to establish a second account. Now, I personally, the way I like to do this is, I use Nox. And of course, I'll have it in the description below, but if you're looking for an easy way to do this, essentially you just get Nox, and then what you're going to do is essentially you're going to get like 2 Novus relocators, I believe. And what you're going to do is essentially go over, click on this, and think to yourself, between the kingdoms of 1 and 200, what is most likely to be dead? The newer ones or the dead ones? Kind of answers your question, right? So the first things you're going to want to do is you're going to probably want to start with kingdoms, between 1 and 30. So in this case, let's try 23. Okay. And the idea is you're basically going to look for a kingdom where there's not as many guilds. So the first thing I always like to look for in determining whether the kingdom is active or not is, do I see a lot of guilds hovering around the base? So I see 1 and a few others, but not very many. There's a little bit of competition. I don't see a whole lot of it. Of course, if I ever wanted to see more, go down to Lunar and check, does Lunar have some base troops, and go over to Frozen. Do they have a lot there? And if, essentially the idea is you're looking to see how many guilds are really out and positioned around the kingdom. And if it looks fairly dead to you, it probably is, but just to be sure, you can take that alt, relocate, and then what you do is go down, click on this, and you're going to go to ranking. And in here, you'll actually get an idea of how many guilds are in the kingdom. And usually, to clarify what a dead kingdom is, for the most part, obviously in my case, there's a lot of guilds. There's over 100 guilds in the kingdom, so it's very active. But inactive kingdoms usually have a little less than like 10 to 15, and sometimes 20. But for the most part, they may have 1, maybe 2, 20 billion might guilds, but otherwise, for the most part, they don't have any. And that's kind of the ideal kingdom that people look for in terms of dead kingdoms, because essentially what you're looking for is just a kingdom that doesn't have as much population. Because the idea is you want to be able to grab all that wonderful loot, whether that be tiles to hitting monsters during events. I hope you found this at least somewhat useful. And again, if you are wanting to figure out an active kingdom, that this is actually how you do it. Alright, so if you're looking for an active kingdom, the reverse logic applies. So what's going to be more active, Kingdom 1 or Kingdom 200? The logic is the same. So you go over, you search up your kingdom. So in this case, one of the most recent kingdoms is like Kingdom 280. Alright, and you get up into the 300s, and that's where you're really going to see some activity. But you check out like Kingdom 280, for example, and you'll notice that, there's a couple guilds here and there. It doesn't look insanely active. I wonder. But I assure you, every time you go to a kingdom that is fairly new out of its protection, 90% of the time, they're filled with guilds. Absolutely filled to the brim. And these are usually the kingdoms where you're going to find a lot of people between 10 and 20 million who are just starting to play the game. And those people are more than likely going to have more than their fair share of, there's just going to be a lot of people just running around. And you're more than likely going to find Billion-Mite players, Champ players, and vice versa in these kind of kingdoms, because what they do is they thrive on all the smaller players, unfortunately. But having that said, though, at least now you guys have at least some idea of how to do it. And again, like I said, if you're really interested, you can always start an alt, have the account run around to get Novus relocators, and you'll essentially be able to get 2 free relocators, or migration scrolls technically, to go to these kingdoms. But to actually make the decision and to make the move, especially if you're with a guild, does take time and planning. So I do recommend that you put a little bit of thought into it before you do just show up. But unless you don't care, needless to say though, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.